Well, my topic is about ultra-early detection of wildfires. Dryad is about connecting the natural world with technology and protecting it, in particular the forest. We're an impact for profit, so our main objective is to protect the environment, but to do that profitably at the same time. So we always do both. We've chosen wildfires as the main objective initially because there's so much impact as well as so much business potential at the same time. So it's a low-hanging fruit with massive impact. Most people don't know that wildfires cause between 6 and 8 billion tons of CO2 emissions. That's about 20% of the global emissions worldwide, about the same amount the entire traffic puts into the air each year. So if we can reduce wildfires, we might have more impact than electrification of traffic. And that's actually our mission, in particular because 80% of wildfires are caused by human activity. So there's something we cause means also we can stop it. A huge impact on biodiversity, which we can stop by preventing wildfires. We're losing more than 3 billion animals in wildfires. And fortunately, ironically, you can say wildfires are also a huge financial problem with more than 140 billion damages globally. And counting. Now, fortunately, I'd say, because that enables companies like Dryad to create a profitable business model, protecting the environment and making money at the same time. So obviously, there is a huge problem. It needs to be addressed. And fortunately, there are many companies and products and services being looked at. There are satellites looking down from space by NASA, by ESA. There are even startups doing own satellites for detecting fires. And that's all good. There are cameras. There must be like 50 camera companies that detect wildfires with optical systems, and they all make sense because there is no single silver bullet that will solve this massive problem. Now, what we want to do is we want to complement these optical and satellites and cameras with something we call ultra-early detection of wildfires. We want to detect fires in the first 60 minutes after someone throws a cigarette, when the fire is still small during the smoldering phase, and therefore enabling the firefighters to extinguish a fire when it's still small and easy to extinguish, whereas optical systems often take hours or even days sometimes to detect a fire, and the fire is often too big to be extinguished at all. So time is really of the essence. What we've created is a product we call Silvanet. Silva is Latin for forest, and that is the network. So we're building a network in the forest, and we're putting sensors into that very forest to protect it. Since we're a hardware company, I actually brought hardware. So this is one of our sensors. We're manufacturing 10,000 units this month, scheduled to do 230,000 units next year. We've just placed a purchase order for the hardware for this. We've received purchase orders for 7,000 units already. We're planning to run 230,000 next year to really cover large areas with this. This is like a digital nose we place into the forest. And it can smell a fire using built-in machine learning to prevent false positives. So we can detect a fire and distinguish it from a diesel truck driving by. Now, the problem in the forest is you cannot connect anywhere, right? You remember when you go into the forest, no mobile network. Now we create a network in the forest. For that we have our gateways, again solar powered, which we place into the forest into a large scale mesh network, enabling digitalization of the forest environment. So we're like the AT&T of the forest, if you want, with a killer application to protect it from wildfires. We also have a cloud-based application where we're doing the device management and monitoring and alerting. A key thing from a technological perspective and USP, and we trying to protect the hell out of it with patents, is our large-scale mesh network. So we create very large-scale, solar-powered, off-grid telecommunications networks in the forest, which is the first because nobody does that. We found a business model and a product and technology that enables very large-scale IoT network infrastructure specifically designed for the forest. Of course, everybody asks, well, how many sensors do you need? And our products are really cheap. We sell them at 48 euro a sensor. And yes, we need a lot of them. We need about 1 per hectare, which means a lot if you've got a country like Germany, about 11 million hectares of forest. But we don't need to put a sensor into every hectare because 80% of wildfires are started by humans. So we only need to put sensors where there are humans, like along a road for example, where people throw a cigarette or do other stupid things. So that reduces the number of sensors we need dramatically while retaining effectiveness of the system. We're focusing obviously on ultra-early detection of fires. That's a clear, unique value proposition, I think. We get much faster, we can prevent the damages and the issues arising from it, but we want to do more. We want to do health and growth monitoring to actually become the digital backbone of the forest, to protect the forest, to measure it while it grows, detect soil moisture, detect chainsaws. So we can do much more once you have a digital network infrastructure in the forest, and that's what we want to do in the roadmap moving forward. We're selling the hardware through resellers in a reseller infrastructure. So we've got about 15 resellers globally in Europe and the US, selling them for about €48. And then we've got an ARR with an annual revenue for accessing the cloud platform and maintenance and support. We're selling to private forestry, to municipalities, and to utility companies because, you know, electricity companies, power line transmissions create a lot of fire and really damaging ones. And we've got about 15 customers so far, pre-orders for about 7,000 units of the 10,000 manufactured this year. And we just yesterday received a purchase order from Wildfire, which is huge for us because that's the honeypot where we need to go in California, the fire department effectively. Our target this year is we're just starting to sell the product, about 400,000 revenues this year, about 4 million euros revenue next year. We're selling through resellers and aiming for profitability in 2024. We just closed a Series A round in 2020, about 10 million euro. So we've got funds to grow and build. We're now 30 people located in Berlin. We still have firepower with authorized capital. So if there are investors that will still want to join the party, please speak to me. We're growing and we've got a huge potential ahead of us. We've got a team of 7 co-founders. We're now 33 people based in Berlin. My background is telecommunications, and we've got a huge background on telecoms and network and software in our management team. And the last slide, we are an impact for profit, and we mean impact. We really mean that. We measure and project not just revenue and profitability like everyone does. We also measure and project impact. So our main mission is to protect the forest. And if we succeed by selling 120 million sensors by 2030, which is our business plan's goal, we will be able to protect about 3.9 million hectares of forest from burning. And that would save a whopping 1.7 billion tons of CO2 emissions. So that's our mission, that's our goal. And that's Dryad, protecting the natural world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Carsten.